Great. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Jess Hyman with CVOEO, the Champlain Valley Office of Economic Opportunity, and I am thrilled to see all of you here today. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you especially to our amazing writers, and to John and Jane from Revolutionary Press for turning their incredible writing into stunning art, and of course a big thanks to Young Writers Project for making this possible. Now I might get a little teary when I do this because, and I apologize ahead of time, but one of the things that excites me so much about this exhibit, about taking the connection between young people's words and art, is that there's so few opportunities for young people to show their voices. And Young Writers Project is an amazing nonprofit that has provided this platform for these four amazing young people and thousands of others all around Vermont and the country. I served on their board for a few years, and I just have so much deep respect for young writers. And well, I'll turn it over to Hillary to talk a little more about that in a moment. But I wanted to share a little bit about why we're here for this exhibit. So this exhibit has been up through April and May in celebration of Fair Housing Month. And fair housing is the right for everyone to have access to a place to call home without being discriminated against or harassed. It provides freedom of choice for everyone to have a safe and accessible place to call home. It's especially important for us to think about what that means now at a time when housing justice and housing equity is not being promoted at a national level. We'll leave it there. And so during Fair Housing Month, which happens each year in April, to celebrate the passage of the Fair Housing Act in 1968, which enshrined in federal law the right for everyone to have access to a place to call home. We celebrate that every April, and we do this statewide with a series of events and activities that not just to both raise awareness about the fact that discrimination still exists all over the country, all over Vermont, right here in Burlington. People are being denied access to places to call home simply because of where they were born, color of their skin, who they love, because of disability and other reasons. And we also want to raise awareness about housing discrimination and also celebrate the importance of inclusive, affordable housing. And so this exhibit is part of that. So we invited Young Writers Project to be involved in this contest, in this exhibit rather, and we're really grateful for the partnership with Revolutionary Press. But I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn it over to Kalia to talk a little bit more about fair housing and about the words of these wonderful young people, and then we'll hear from Hillary at Young Writers, and then John, and then finally we will hear from our wonderful readers. So thank you all for being here today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kalia Livingston, and I also work at CVOEO. I am the Fair Housing Project Education and Outreach Coordinator. I don't have too much to add. Jess did a really great job of telling you all why we're here today, but I was really happy to work alongside Jess and the Young Writers Project and a Revolutionary Press to put this exhibit up, and had a very profound experience reading through all of the submissions, and I'm really happy to be here with some of the artists and writers and being able to uplift some young voices and acknowledge how much emotional intelligence and thoughtfulness was put into these different pieces. And I just really want to recognize and uplift young voices, and thank you all again for being here and submitting your wonderful pieces and allowing them to be on display here for Fair Housing Month. And I really appreciate how much you all are able to visually see and feel everything that we're experiencing right now with our current housing market and just the lack of equity and housing justice that is not currently being prioritized. So thank you so much for having that purview and thoughtfulness and putting that into your writing. And I will pass it to Hillary.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Hillary Reed. I'm the board chair of Young Writers. I'm very proud to be standing next to these folks. Thank you so much to CVOEO, Jess and her team, for giving us this platform. Thanks to City Hall for this space. Revolutionary Press, this is awesome. Like the visual and written elements coming together. It's really, really beautiful. I also want to say thanks to Susan Reed, who is our executive director. She is like Jess, she is an understated Canadian who can move mountains without saying a whole lot about it. She's in Canada spending time with her family right now. But Susan really has shepherded Young Writers Project through some tough times that we'll talk about a little bit. But first I want to acknowledge the kids. Housing is something that I really never had to worry about all that much when I was growing up in Vermont. It's changed dramatically since then, obviously. And if you've read the stuff on the walls, these kids have to worry about a lot more than just fair housing these days. You know, basic freedoms that, again, most of us really didn't have to question for a long time, which it's really sobering to think about what they have to go through. And I feel like we always kind of ask more of the generation coming behind us, and we're doing the same thing with these kids. So the least we can do, and what Young Writers Project is doing, is giving them a platform to find their voices so they can, you know, have freedom of expression and not question it with young writers, and that they have a chance to connect. Young Writers Project was founded in 2006 by a gentleman named Jeff Javalt, who at the time was managing editor at the Free Press, where Jess worked, where Susan worked, where I worked, where other board members have worked. And at the time, it was really founded to give kids a place to develop their writing skills. That was the main purpose. And it's done that. It's launched careers. We have Young Writers alumni who are, you know, college professors, journalists, editors, authors. It has done its job there and will continue to. But what we found in COVID, when things, as they did everywhere, pivoted very sharply to go online, was that it was a community. What we heard from the kids, it was a real lifeline. When everybody was sequestered in their various places that they could call home, they could still connect with each other on the site, which really, so the Young Writers went from being a very in-person, Vermont-based, you know, we were doing workshops, we were doing events, things like that, readings, and it became entirely online. And what that did was shift the focus from Vermont, although we're still predominantly a Vermont organization serving Vermont kids, giving voices to Vermont kids, but you'll notice some of the voices on the walls were from other places. Last count, now I may be outdated here, but we were in 48 states. I think the exceptions were Alaska and Kentucky, and we had, I mean, really incredible work. Like the Washington State Youth Poet Laureate, for instance, was part of Young Writers. I mean, just really incredible stuff. We obviously added a visual element, which, again, this brings together really beautifully. And it's just the kids have really built a community where they support each other, you know, and not just in COVID, but well beyond. They share fears and joys and vulnerabilities, and it's just seeing them support each other and make each other better writers is just, it's something that, the way it's evolved, the organization has evolved, has really become like more meaningful than just teaching writing skills, which is amazing. Now, like every other nonprofit, as you know, we've heard alluded to, it's a tough time for fundraising. And Young Writers is, Jess knows this full well because she was doing our finances for a while on the board. She was our treasurer. We are very lean. I mean, part of Susan's charter was to get any additional bit of waste out of the budget, and it wasn't even waste, I wouldn't say. Like, it was just like essentials that we kind of could live without for a while. So when I say a $5 donation helps, I mean a $5 donation probably buys us a couple of days of hosting on the site. Like, it is meaningful. So if you are so inspired at any point, tonight's about CVOEO and about these kids, but if you're inspired at any point to give to Young Writers, and I mean anything, it helps. Like, we see the budget. We tried to give Susan a raise once, and she said no. And she's been the board chair, or the ED for, I think, 8 years now. But it's just, we run a very, very lean ship. But our mission, I think, is more important than ever. You're going to hear from these kids exactly what it's doing. So I'll stop talking now. We have much more important things to get to. So thank you again for being here and supporting CVOEO and Young Writers. So go to the site, just Google Young Writers Project. That's a good thing to do anyway, because you can access a lot of this writing. You can also see their writing on Vermont Digger, and they'll also give you links to donate and go to the site. Just keep your eye out. We're in the community. Sometimes these kids are on VPR getting featured. Like, yeah, we love our community partners, but yeah, bookmark the site. It's a great thing to go to and feel better about the future just from hearing what these kids have to say. So thanks for the prompt there.
Thank you so much, Hillary. And John, I'd like to introduce John Vincent from A Revolutionary Press.
Thank you. Thanks everyone that invited the press to participate. Thank you, writers. Keep writing. I love what you're writing. And obviously, all that writing inspired us at the press to create these broadsides that are hanging on the wall and to bring the printing press and to do a second edition of this piece so that people could print here tonight. So the mission of the press: print and disseminate radical and revolutionary ideals, that would be the poets and the writers, to impel the people, that's us, to creatively act on their right and their duty to alter or abolish the present form of government and institute a new and more humane form of government. That's the mission statement of the 501c3. It's a history lesson. It's a paraphrase. It comes from a document, a founding document of our country, the Declaration of Independence. It was given to us to alter or abolish the present form of government and institute a new one. And that's up to you. And you're doing it with your writing. And it inspires me to look back at some other people that write. Thomas Merton: I do not have clear answers to current questions. I do have questions. And as a matter of fact, I think a person is better known by their questions than by their answers. To make known one's questions is no doubt to come out in the open oneself. I am not in the market for the ready-made and wholesale answers so easily volunteered by the public, and I question nothing so much as the viability of public and popular answers, including some of which claim to be the most progressive. So you've tackled that because you're asking questions of us. You're not giving those easy answers. Cornel West, and this speaks to a lot of the work in here, one in particular, Cry Me a River, Tears. I am a blues man in the life of the mind. I'm a jazz man of the world of ideas. And one last, Jacob Mikas, in the very end, civilizations perish because they listen to their politicians and not to their poets. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And I want to give a shout out to Jane as well. Jane, who is John's partner in all this goodness and an amazing, silent partner. She refused to talk today, and an amazing bookmaker. And some of her art is on the walls as well. And I also just want to give an additional shout out to both John and Jane for all the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work that went into setting each of these pieces. So, you know, each of these pieces is one letter, one piece of type, just like you saw here, that had to be set by hand and reset and reorganized many, many times. And I'm just so grateful for all of your time and energy that went into this. There's a lovely juxtaposition between, you know, the young voices and this old technique, this old technology, and it's just lovely that they've come together. And now, without further ado, I would love to turn it over to our writers, and we'll start with Sela right here. And Sela will be reading My True Home, Vermont.
Hi, I know this microphone doesn't work. It's fine. My name is Sela Morgenstein First. I'm 12 years old, and I live and go to school in South Burlington. And I'm going to be reading My True Home, Vermont. Being a Vermonter is spending 6 months of the year wearing a jacket. Being a Vermonter is running outside in nothing but leggings and a sweater, thinking it's springtime when it hits 47 degrees. Being a Vermonter is laying flat on your back in the 15 inches of snow, watching the thick flakes tumble down from the sky. Being a Vermonter is being shocked at the size of all other cities. Being a Vermonter is knowing 3 out of 7 people you pass on the street. Being a Vermonter is playing on the UVM green as a preschooler, already toddling around in a snowsuit. Being a Vermonter is biking miles and miles with your best friends every weekend, splashing through puddles as the lilacs in your neighborhood bloom. Being a Vermonter is hiking Camel's Hump and Mount Philo and being so used to the Adirondacks in the distance you forget to take pictures. Being a Vermonter is going to a stadium and realizing it seats more people than live in Burlington. Being a Vermonter is baking brownies and crunching through the snow to give them to your neighbors. Being a Vermonter is reading the newspaper and joining webinars with Becca Balin at school. It's marching in the Pride Parade while the wind rips through Church Street. Being a Vermonter is figuring out how to protect Vermont while Vermont figures out how to protect you. Being a Vermonter is sleep away at Camp Hochelaga, the stars tinged with sunscreen and waves. Being a Vermonter is swimming in Lake Champlain every summer, darting through the emerald swathes of pine trees on your best friend's motorboat. Being a Vermonter is having to drive to Plattsburgh to go to a decent department store. Being a Vermonter is not knowing a life without an autumn filled with fire. Being a Vermonter is shouting the words to Stick Season by Noah Kahn out the bus windows as the brown and gray world disappears alongside the highway. Being a Vermonter is flying anywhere warmer than here over February break. Being a Vermonter is still believing in Champ. Being a Vermonter is so much more than muddy springs and bonfire falls and freezing lakes that feel better than the ocean. Being a Vermonter is community and love and beauty all 365 days of the year. Being a Vermonter is poetry and nonfiction all in one. Being a Vermonter, well, you're a Vermonter, aren't you? Why don't you tell me? So I think I'm supposed to say something about how something inspired me. So I wrote this poem because I was thinking about how Vermont is such a really cool and safe space right now and forever and always. And YWP is like filled with Vermonters, and all of them were like, everyone posts about Vermont, and it's really cool. So I wrote this because I was thinking like Vermont is so ironic, and it's so full of coincidences, and I went to a stadium and I thought this stadium seats more people than live in Burlington, and that's kind of what gave me the idea to write this poem.
Thank you, Sheila. Next up, we have Maddie Hankins reading Not Quite What I Imagined.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes? Cool. Okay, I'm Madeline Hankins. I live in Jericho. I also go to school there, and I'm 14. And here's not quite what I imagined. I always dreamed that my life would be like it is in books. Little did I know that would later come true. It's not quite what I imagined, though. I didn't imagine a government that was poisoned with hatred. I did not imagine people's rights being taken away one by one. I did not imagine a dictatorship taking over the supposed land of the free. When I wished for life to be like a story, I never meant a dystopian one. Thank you. All right. I also learned that I'm supposed to talk about what inspired me. So this was inspired by my teacher, actually. We were learning about how dystopian fiction is about what happens in actual life. It's about social issues and things like that, but it's obviously much more dramatized, usually. And I don't know, he was like, it connects to current events. And I was like, it was around the election when I wrote this. So I was like, wow, right now is so like a dystopian novel that I had just read. So it was so wild to me, like, wow, this is a dystopian novel. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maddie. Next up, we have Isla Siegel reading All the Homes.
Hi. My name is Isla Siegel. I'm 14 years old, and I live and go to school in Woodstock, Vermont. And this is All the Homes. In dirt roads, the way you bounce in your seat and smile at the mud, coated tires, coated legs, coated boots, while everyone complains that it's not summer. and falling into powder, the kind you get once a year that floats on your tongue when you catch it like we're still little, and start to make snow angels, but you don't have the energy, so you let the snow hug you. And the stars, we're so small, they're so small. They're so big, it's so dark. They're so bright. Stop overthinking and let them wash you like when we were 5 in a bathtub of long summer grass. In bright homes on dark nights, and light homes on heavy days, and new perspectives from old routines, let's find home. I guess a lot of my work, including this piece, is inspired by just looking around and thinking about what I thought. And I feel like home is like my house, and it's also the larger area of Vermont, and we share that home as Vermonters. So that home means a lot to me, and I chose to write about it here. So thank you.
And now we'll hear from Sela with her second piece for the exhibit, Freedom Isn't What They Say It Is.
I'm back. Same person. So now I'll read Freedom Isn't What They Say It Is, which was written around the election. I'm 12 years old. I think freedom isn't what they say it is. I live in the land of the free. I am free in most ways. I can be a black belt. I can be a published poet. I can win money for my achievements. I can wear makeup. I can make friends. I can protest and argue for my rights. I can attend synagogue and leave it too. I can cry and I can laugh. I am free. But to be free means to have a say in your own freedom, to know just how free you truly are. I can't vote. I can't drive. I can't run for office. I can't choose where I go to public school. I can't choose who is mean to me, who is nice to me. I can't choose who doesn't care. I can't control how my body changes and fights and bleeds. I can't choose how, where, or to whom I was born. I am free. I am not free. Because being free means loving and living fully without fears, but I am afraid. And being free means having a voice in your own freedom without restrictions, but I do not. And being free means to turn to one another, no matter their skin tone or disability or inner voice or brain or how they love or who they love or fearfulness or freedom, and say, I love you, I care about you, I want to make the world better for you. So really, none of us are free until we choose to be. So the thoughts that inspired that poem was around the election, everyone was talking about like freedom and, oh, like America, land of the free, home of the brave. And I was thinking like, are we really free? Because it says we're free, but I don't have a say in how the next 4 years of my life go. Like, I don't have a say in who is the mayor or the president or any of the elected officials. So I was thinking like, I don't think we're actually free. So what's freedom? So yeah, that's the poem.
Thank you, Silas. And we'll close out the readings this evening with Teddy Owens with A River of Tears.
My name is Teddy, and this is A River of Tears. Every day when we stand for the pledge, I feel like a curtain has fallen over me, holding me down. I remember who is president for the next 4 years, and I want to cry. I want to sit down and cry a river of tears, because sometimes dread and fear grip me, and I want the world to stop and let me be sad. I want the world to let me cry a river of tears. And when I'm done, I want the world to know that I'm ready for anything they hurl my way. I want the world to know that I can do anything I put my mind to, and that they should not underestimate what this generation can do, what we will do. And I believe that to be to try our best to make a world a better place and never give up. I wrote this poem at like 8 p.m. when I had math homework in front of me, halfway done, and I was just like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to write a poem. So I did. And like when I was halfway through it, I was just getting so overwhelmed with all of the emotions that were just flowing out of me that I legitimately cried a river of tears. And that is just what inspired the name of it. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Teddy. I think that's the perfect message to end the readings with. What can we do? Each of us can do something, can make positive change in our communities, in our state, and in our country. So I really think we need to take the lead from these 4 young people, as well as all the other authors and who are involved with young writers, and take some action and make this world as it is now better for them and for all of us as well. So this is the end of the official talking part of this. Unless anyone from the audience would like to come up and say anything, you're more than welcome to. We're just so grateful for all of you for being here tonight. Grateful for all of you and your courage to stand up here and say your words. And one thing that we didn't share before is this is the first time these 4 have met each other. They've read each other's work online, but never in person. And so it's really nice to be connecting you two and you 4 in person as well. As you came in, there were ballots. We'll be awarding the People's Choice Award tonight. So if you haven't already voted for your favorite piece of writing, please do. Take some time, look at the pieces. We have prints for sale. It's by donation, any amount. All the funds raised tonight will support our housing advocacy work at CVOEO. Also, go to youngwritersproject.org. Vermont.org, Young Writers, yeah, Google it, you'll find it. Make a donation, support this amazing work. You can also support a revolutionary press by subscribing to the press and getting in the mail small pieces of original art each month. And stay, enjoy the food, talk to each other, and thank you all again for being part of this wonderful event. We have done the tally from the online voting that has been happening throughout the exhibit, as well as all your votes tonight. And we had a clear winner for our People's Choice Award. And I'm excited to say that our winner is in the room here today. So the winner for the People's Choice Award is Sela. Freedom isn't what they say it is. So congratulations. Here's a little extra gift for you. And thank you all.